my side of the bag. I'm Drew Hinesley. He's Scotty Worldwide. How you doing today, Scotty?
Oh, good. Good to be home. Good to be off Erin Hills and not climbing any large hills this week. So good to sit here, make my own coffee in my own home, and take a week off.
I told you that was a big boy golf course. Was I
Oh yeah.
correct?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think I was 7 days in a row. I got there Saturday, walked 18, walked 9 on Sunday, walked the other 9. So yeah, I think it was 7 straight days of walking up in those hills.
And the USGA provided you nice hospitality, some therapy post and a pre and post round for you guys, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah. I went to the truck the therapy and the recovery truck twice while I was there. Um, we now have some recovery equipment that travels with just the caddies week to week on the LPGA, but it was nice that they had in-house chiro and massage therapists to do all that as well. So, and then later today, I got myself a little massage book. So, got to keep the body right and get ready for the big stretch.
Not every caddy lives that 5-star life at the, you know, Southern California resort and spa like you do. But Scotty, I'm glad you got it like that, buddy.
Hey, listen, it could all be gone tomorrow, so we're just trying to enjoy it while we can.
Your private barista making you coffee in the morning, and then you got the spa later. I tell you, I mean, again, you're still just like 5 weeks removed from a win. Life is still very, very good living high on the hog, isn't it?
It's 6, but yeah.
All right, Women's U.S. Open. Maya
Yes, it
Stark,
is.
your
Mm-hmm.
champion, Nelly Korda, with her best finish ever in
Yeah.
the U.S. Open as a runner-up, thanks to some pretty poor play by a couple of players coming down the stretch.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. You played, I believe you told me you played 2 practice rounds with Maya Stark with your boss, Ingrid Lindblad. What did you see in those practice rounds that it made it not such a surprise to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you guys saw Lynn and Ingrid there to have the champagne bath for Maya, so super close. Grew up together, playing a lot of golf in Sweden. Her and Jeff, pretty new caddy to the bag. I think this is only their third week together.
Wow.
Um, Obviously, Jeff's been around a long time, caddy for Colin Montgomery, caddy for Bronte Law. But I think in those 2 practice rounds, I think you just saw that, she was hitting it well. Didn't really have a lot of missed greens with irons or, just the strike was really good. I was talking to Jeff a little bit, and he was talking little bit how he wanted to play maybe a little bit more aggressive off the tee than I did, and I certainly saw. For instance, they hit driver off number 12 every day, and we hit forward off it. I just hated that left side run out, and I felt like if we got one going a little left, it could easily be there. I'd rather take that blind shot with the wedge from the fairway versus driver. But hey, listen, there's a reason they it worked out for them. We also hit forward in the practice round on 18 and just made it a 3-shot hole. They hit driver down there every day. So I think just little things like that. Jeff was pretty aggressive, I guess, in his calls, and Maya was hitting it good. So, when you have someone hitting it that good too, you don't want to ever lay off the gas. Especially in something like a U.S. Open when you're going to have opportunities that other people aren't going to have. You put the pedal to the metal. So I think that's the number one thing I take away from spending, 18 holes with them early in the week is just how good she was hitting it, and then how aggressive I think Jeff wanted to be to some of those holes.
Was it an aggressive off the tee, slightly more conservative into the green approach, or was it
Yeah,
as
it was
aggressive as
definitely.
they could be all the time?
Yeah, I think it was hitting driver in places where other people might not hit drivers. For instance, number 12, um, 18. I talked to a couple guys that just hit hybrid off 18 every day and just made it a for sure 3-shot hole and layup. Because I mean, you saw the green, and it doesn't do it justice on TV how small that thing is, and you cannot miss. And I mean, where they put that pin. Um, on a couple days, like there is no room left and there is no room long. So you can just bail out. So I mean, for it, like you might as well just hit a wedge right of it and 2-putt and take 5 every day. So
Which is
again,
how Maya played it on 18 to get her winning, I believe, bogey, winning 6. She missed the green with a third, played
yep,
out to the right, took a very good 2-putt, but got down, just managed the miss there. to not make a huge number.
Yeah, so I mean, quick fun story here. It might be boring, but we on Saturday we hit it in the rough, so we had to lay up and lie was horrible. That left rough is some of the worst rough on the entire golf course. So we had to punch out with an 8 iron, and we had 7 iron left in because we had to lay up short of that little coffin bunker to the back left pin, and it was above Ingrid's feet, and she pulled it left. And I tell you what, as soon as she made contact, we both started just walking because we know exactly where that ball was going to go. And so it was, 43 meters long left, and made a really good 6 out of there. So
Yeah, it's not many places where a 6 on a par 5 is an acceptable score, but at Erin Hills, couple of those par 5s, if you miss, 14, if you miss it long and right over that
yep,
green, kind of the same as the par 4 15th when they played it as a drivable. People were bouncing their wedges over the green and making big numbers, and there's a lot of severity to that golf course. And as we said in our pre-tournament show, it's they can set the tees as short as they want, but the severity at that course is in the greens and in the surrounds, and
yeah.
that was going to create big numbers for everybody in the field as it did.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Saturday was a little bit crazy, and I don't blame the USGA, but we didn't finish round two because of the delay. So then we had the quick turnaround. So we only got the pins maybe 45 minutes, an hour before we were set to go. And that's one where maybe you would have loved to go out there early in the morning and watch some people finish before you did, because I mean, it was only playing 213 meters front, right? On 15 on Saturday where they put that back right pin. Now, listen, it is what it is, but just saying the guys got the back left pin when they made it drivable, we got the back right pin. But, you know, it is what it is. So I'm just saying I think if maybe we would have been able to see some groups come through and see how hard that putt was once you get on the green, because they sped up the greens too from the first 2 days. They were 13 Saturday and Sunday, so I mean that made a huge difference too.
Well, and the natural miss to a back right flag on a drivable par 4 is everybody's going to pull it, draw it to the left. And
Yeah,
if you were on that green on that left side, putting up and over the ridge, it was impossible to stop the ball
yeah,
on the green at that
yeah,
point.
yeah. I mean,
So
you saw what Esther
it was
did.
either
You saw Angel putted it off the green. Esther putted
right.
it off the green.
So you either go for the flag directly, or you miss to the right, or you lay up like Anna Nordquist did and hit a 5 iron off the tee, or maybe even less than that. But again, not having any context there and not really being able to scout it did make it a much more challenging situation for those of you that were playing later in the day.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, I do think the setup was fair. Great golf course. I maybe wish again if it would have been drivable, the USGA would have put it left because it was drivable that day, or put it middle drivable that day. And then the pin on 14 on Saturday too, I thought was a little bit, I mean, suspect. It was right on the front knob, so I mean, you can't really hit 3-wood there because it's not going to stop, and you just hit a wedge. And somehow those 2 days we made 5 on 14 and 4 on 15, and I thought we probably gained strokes on the field in that stretch.
Well, you definitely did on 15 on Saturday. That was the hardest hole in the golf course, the drivable par 4. So if you
What does
made
that tell
par,
you?
yeah, if you made par there, you definitely picked up shots on the field, which is what we're trying to do. Every hole, just get a margin, just get a couple of margins in our favor, and that's how you play well, and that's how you cash some big checks. Which you guys cashed a check. I wouldn't say it's a big check at that event, but hey, you keep making cuts in majors. Those are good reps. You got a bunch of big majors coming up.
Yeah.
Evian, where you guys were the first round leader last year. So I expect some good results from you guys later this summer.
Well, I appreciate that, but yeah, no, things are good. I think it was good to play this big girl, big boy golf course. It's just tough. It was just, I mean, the first 2 days we shot even par, and it felt like we were 3 under. I mean, we played that good those first 2 days to shoot even, and then we were even going into our 18th hole on Saturday, and then on number 9 we pulled one into that left bunker, and it is absolutely death. So we made double out of there. I think she got a little scared because, if that ball gets rolling, it's going off the green. So definitely understood and left one in the bunker and then hit one on to the green and then two putted it, two over for the day. Felt like that crushed a lot of momentum that we had and played all good day. Even Davy Jones, shout out to him. He said some really nice things to Ingrid in scoring, how good she played, and it was not reflective of her score. For those that don't know, Davy Jones caddies for former number one player in the world, Ronnie Yen, who we played with on Saturday, who ended up having a really good tournament the last couple of days. So all in all, I think really solid golf tournament. If you asked me beginning of the week, would I sign for 35th? Probably. So
Okay. You picked, amongst other players, you picked Lilia Vu to
yeah,
play very well at this event. I picked Charlie Hull. Both players, there's some things being said about them during the tournament and after the tournament. Let's start with Lilia. These are some insights that just you've kind of picked up on by being on the ground. Nothing has been made public, but what are your thoughts about former world number one Lilia Vu?
yeah. So I watched the entirety of her round Thursday morning. They were probably the third group out. We went out Thursday afternoon, so I always try to watch and see what holes and versus trying to walk every hole at Erin Hills before the round. Much easier to watch them on live coverage, which they had. And um, from watching Lilia to watching her putt and drive, she definitely does not look like she's 100% healthy to me.
Mm.
Doesn't look like she has speed and very much speed in her golf game. So I think there is maybe some back issues going on. I wonder if it wasn't the U.S. Open, whether she would continue to play. And I think that's
Mm.
probably reflective in her scorecard as well. Obviously, shot a super, super high number both days, didn't come close to making the cut. Um, Obviously, I don't not part of that team. I don't make those decisions for her. I don't know everything that's going on, but she does not look healthy. I mean, she played with Rose Zhang, and Rose Zhang was driving it past her by 15, 20, which that should never be the case. I mean, Lilia Vu drives it very well and mid long, I would say. So, and very aggressive too, and I mean, even when she pick up her golf ball out of the hole, it didn't look like she was having much fun. So, I think there might be some tournaments off coming up for Lilia Vu. Obviously, I think she's probably taking this week off. She is defending at Meyer, so it'll be interesting to see if she plays Meyer.
Yeah, if I'm part of her team, if I'm Brett Lederer, her coach, or Cole, her caddy, I'm encouraging her to get as much rest as possible. It is a big major season coming up with a lot of travel, a lot of international travel. And if
Yeah,
you've got a back issue, any of you guys out there listening, if you've ever had a back issue, getting on a plane and flying 6, 7 hours is not the easiest thing to do with that. That includes a lot of treatment or requires a lot of treatment after things like that, not just for your playing, but also your traveling. So I would want her to be in tip top shape heading to all those majors. And let's see if they keep her out until the next major that is played, which is in Texas.
yes, KPMG, the PGA Frisco golf course. So
Yeah, it'll be the first time we've seen this. First time we've seen this new PGA headquarters in Frisco, Texas. So I'm excited to see it. KPMG, of course, the host. KPMG, a good host, doubled the purse when we were at Congressional a couple of years back. So big fan of them for helping get the women's game a little bit closer to where they need to be. All right, my pick to win, Charlie Hull,
yeah,
paired with Nelly Korda and Lexi Thompson, first two rounds, and a little bit of controversy comes out of that as Charlie pretty impatiently going to tees and sitting down while the other two are still putting on the last green. There was a photo that emerged on X of Charlie at least 50 yards down the right off the 18th tee, while Lexi and Nelly are still hitting tee shots on 18. So, and Charlie, of course, talks to the media afterwards saying her group's pace of play didn't make her happy. Lexi has to respond in public saying, I'm not the fastest player, but we waited on every shot. What say you about this little kerfuffle between Lexi and Charlie?
Well, I think hats off to Lexi. I appreciated the comment she made because I think she's tired of answering the questions about this retirement thing. Whether it was self-inflicted or not, I don't know. But the pace of play thing, I will say this: Charlie is the fastest player I've ever played with. We played with her final round in Utah, and bef before sometimes that I'm even at the golf ball, her and ads are ready to hit. So I really, really made a conscious effort off the tees that final round in Utah, just to get there, right? Because I didn't want to be in the way. Usually we were hitting last, so I wanted just to make sure I was there and then got out of the way, and I wasn't putting any undue pressure on the group to play faster. So I will say that. So like when you have a player that plays that fast, she's gonna have to wait at some point, right? Just because the traffic jam, you can't play holes that fast in tour championship golf. You can hit the shots, but then you're gonna have to wait. So this is what happens with slow play, right? Like everyone starts to wait, so then there's no incentive to play faster because then you're just speeding up to wait, which no one wants to do. So I think that was kind of the cause of it, and I think that's why maybe with Charlie's frustration. I don't necessarily think. I mean, you've worked for Lexi, you've been around. I mean, Nellie's fast; she flies. I don't think necessarily any of those girls are on the slow side. I would say. So I don't know if it was so much her playing partners or just she was fed up with the pace of play. But also, too, it is the U.S. Open. It is Erin Hills, and at the time, this was the first 2 days, so it was split tees off backing and front. So I mean, place like Erin Hills, 3 balls, you're going to have major traffic jams.
Well, and you're dealing with somebody who recently quit smoking, so she could be a little antsy anyway, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think Ads has given her all her jokes that she needs to slow her down and just kind of lets her do her thing. So
I'm fast to a fault. There's times where I could probably take a little bit more time, and anytime I play in a USGA qualifier or something like that, I'm begging for everybody in my group to play well because I've had my group turn into a twosome in the middle of a tee sheet, and for me, that's death by a thousand cuts because I'm standing around because I don't take any time to hit a shot. I move fast, I think faster, and that's just how I play. And so for me, the hardest thing for me in a qualifier is to get the cadence and the timing down of the slower play because typically there's way more on the line and people are taking their time. And
yeah,
obviously in a U.S. Open with very severe greens, nobody's going to move real quick except for
correct.
Charlie. So it's just one of those things. She is always going to fight. She's going to
Yeah,
fight it next year at Riviera. She's going to fight
yeah.
it every year at the U.S. Open.
She's gonna
And
fight it
she's going to
every
fight.
week.
I was going to say she's going to fight it every major on the first 2 days when there's 156 players competing for big time prizes, big time stature. You're never going to be quick on a golf course in a major championship at the professional level. I don't care what measures we take to speed up play. That's just the way
And
it is.
Drew, for the caddies listening, when you have a player that's becoming pace of play, what has been your trick to try to settle them down or slow them down, or because it happens, right?
Yeah, you try to again. This is a big, kind of trusting with your player because a lot of players are afraid that they're going to be the one that gets penalized. It happened to me last year in a Corn Ferry event. I'm in the final group on a Sunday. It's not televised. There's no weather. It's the middle of the afternoon in late June, and somehow the Corn Ferry field staff comes and tells us we're on the clock. And we had 5 holes to play. We're tied for the lead. And my player, a rookie, just speeds up.
Yeah,
That's the worst thing you could do. The other player in the group, Max McGreevy, a tour veteran of both the PGA and Corn Ferry, if anything, he slows his cadence down. Guess who won the event? The veteran who slowed down, not the rookie who sped up.
yeah,
So again, you're trying to tell your player, hey, just take it easy. They're not going to penalize you. They just have to do this. This is due diligence for the tour staff. They have to say, hey, we warned the final group. They're not going to penalize you. Just do your
right.
thing. But your player speeds up. Typically, you'll speed up to match it. Now, if
Mhm.
you have a long-term relationship with a player, which was not the case with me and my guy, it was our second week together. So you're kind of just taking cues from them and trying not to upset them any further in a
Yeah.
very intense situation. But if I know Joe Scavron, your buddy, my buddy, he's told Ricky in some times where it gets a little hot, he says, Ricky, do not walk in front of me. So Joe uses his pace to slow his boss down. And as much as Ricky wants to pull him ahead, Joe's
Yeah.
kind of the anchor, keeping him where he needs to be, taking their time getting to shots.
Yeah.
And Ricky's one of those guys, again, thinks fast, doesn't need to talk a whole lot about a shot. So you don't really need to get there and stand there and just look at the trees for a while. You can kind of sit back, try to come up with something else to talk about, some
Yeah.
kind of
Or just-
diversion.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you try to slow your player down by talking non-golf stuff or pointing somebody out in the crowd. Look at the guy in that stupid shirt or whatever. Can you believe that guy wore those shoes out in public? Whatever you can do to distract your player in a positive way and then allow them to get in their mental space when it's time to hit a shot. But yeah, if you've got a quick player and somebody who likes to move fast coming down the stretch on a weekend or first 2 days in a major, it's going to be really tough on them. So you almost like send them a text the night before and say, hey, we just really need to slow down everything we do today because we're never going to be the ones that are in trouble for playing slow. It's going to be others. And sometimes you see the tee sheet and you know, okay, we're with a slow player. So you go ahead and tell your player on Tuesday afternoon when you see the pairings, you start planting those seeds of, hey, we really just need to stay in our lane, not get upset, not let somebody else's pace upset ours. Because what typically happens with fast players is they'll watch a slow player take more than their share of time. The fast player will try to play in 3 seconds so you net out on time. And that's not how a fast player needs to operate. They need to go at their pace, but so often they actually speed up their pace to try to get the group back in position. And that's not your job as a fast player. It's your job to play your game, stay in your lane. And so I've worked for a lot of fast players and I've worked for some slow players. But when you have a fast player, that's usually much harder because you're kind of pulling the leash a little bit and trying to get them to back down a little bit. And for an aggressive, intense player in an intense situation, that's so counterintuitive. So as a caddy, you got your work cut out for you if you got a jackrabbit in a slow situation.
Yeah, it's definitely has this job cut out for him there. But to that point, I think you saw it with how well when Julio Ramirez was kind of making a mess of 18, you saw Jeff right in there, giving Maya a lot of jokes and just having fun with her and just, worrying about the task at hand. And she didn't play out of turn, which I thought she might have just to not necessarily have to wait to make that putt on 18.
I would have played out of hand. I would have played out of turn 3 times on that hole.
Yeah.
3 times.
So, but they were just patient, and I love the fact that like Jeff was right in there, chatting with her, and then when just waiting, and then when it was their turn, then just to go through the process, to not speed up the process, not talk about anything other than task at hand. I thought Jeff did a good job of being right there on 18.
All right. Middle of the pack, T30-ish finish for you guys at Erin Hills at the U.S. Open. What are your final thoughts of the course in southern Wisconsin?
Man, I hope we get to go back soon. I know there's not a USGA thing on our radar because we're pretty booked out until the late 2030s, I think, 2040 even. But man, I hope we get to go back. I hope we go back soon. They did a great job. Golf course was impeccable. I enjoyed my time there very, very much, and I thought it was a really good venue. Could have had some better crowds. It is what it is.
Yeah, congrats to Maya Stark and Jeff, who hopefully we can get on this show sometime soon and talk about that big victory at Erin Hills in the Women's U.S. Open presented by Ally. We are on all the social media channels. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. Give us a like. Give us a listen. Please subscribe. Please share our stuff so we can keep giving you a view of the world of golf from my side of the bag.